Welcome back. In our last session, we considered the parable of Jesus about the man who comes to his neighbor seeking 3 loaves of bread to help meet the needs of unexpected guests that were coming to his house, but that his neighbor had already gone to bed and said, "Go away, I'm in bed," and so on and so forth. But because he was persistent, because he continued to bang, finally the neighbor said, I need to open it up and give him what he wants, or he'll just keep bugging me. In a similar parable, in Luke 18, we read about the persistent widow who seeks justice from an unjust judge. I would like to read that passage and again consider our loving Heavenly Father and what most people look at this parable saying, but what it really says. And so I want to challenge you that if you've, again, like myself, that if you have heard teaching on this before, to set it aside and listen to what Jesus says and understand what he's trying to teach from this parable about our Heavenly Father. Luke 18, beginning at verse 1. Then Jesus spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart, saying, there was in a certain city a judge who did not fear God nor regard man. Now there was a widow in that city, and she came to him, saying, get justice for me from my adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I do not fear God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubles me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. Then the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said. And shall not God avenge his own elect, who cry out day and night to him, though he bears long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith on the earth? Again, this parable has been taught that we should persistently place our requests to God and that he would eventually answer. But have you ever thought about what that conveys about God? Jesus said that the judge in this parable was an unjust judge who didn't fear God. Rather, the point of this parable, again, is that if someone as bad as this judge would finally do what is right, how much more would your Heavenly Father, who knows what you have need of, do what's right? How much more so would your Heavenly Father avenge you if vengeance was needed? Romans 12, verses 17 and 19 says, repay no one evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Beloved, do not avenge yourselves, but rather give place to wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith Yahweh. Jesus taught that we ought always to pray and not lose heart. Why? Because our loving Heavenly Father knows what we have need of, and he delights in us coming before him in this personal communication, laying before him our heart's desire, sharing with him our cares and our concerns. He's not this distant judge, this unjust judge who we've got to badger, to beg, plead with in order to get justice. Rather, he is the just judge. He is the ultimate judge. And he will give us what we need. But again, he delights in us asking. He wants us to be able to come to him as both our provider and our protector. He is the Good Shepherd. We'll consider Psalm 23 later on down the road. But he is that Good Shepherd. He is that loving judge. He is the just judge. Go before him today. If there are things that you're struggling with, if there are issues of justice that you're struggling with, that you would seek your Father's face, that you would ask him for wisdom, that you would ask him for guidance, that you would ask him to intercede. He will. Even though the answer may be no, he will answer. So go and pray and have a blessed day.